endless nights from the sunny day.
All right, take, I don't know, what is this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 14? I have no idea. I know I've probably said about 20 times today that I'm not going to be able to stream in this, anymore. And my internet comes and goes. And I'm trying to stress test it to make sure the next time I call customer service, I have an actual bit of, narrative to go along with what's happening. As some of you guys may know, Thursday morning I tried to game stream, and it wouldn't work. It kept disconnecting. I was getting horrible throughput rates, so I just canceled it. I tried rebooting my modem and router and everything. Didn't work. Same thing happened this morning, so I got on the phone with my ISP's tech service, and they had me basically reconfigure my entire system, and took me about an hour to get everything put back together, because for some reason the system that they had me go back to, all the Ethernet ports had been disabled. So every time I would try to plug my PC into the back of the router modem, it would work. It kept telling me that there was no Ethernet cable attached, and I finally, by monkey buttoning around a bunch, found out that in fact all the Ethernet ports have been disabled on the modem / router. So I was able to get those back up, and I got my internet back up. But it seemed to be good. But I just launched. You guys know, launched about a half hour ago, and it all went to you know what again. Went to complete S. And it's starting to fall off again as we speak. I can't count on it. I just can't count on it. I'm going to stick with it. I'll stick with y'all. See what we can do. If it gets to the point where you can't stand it, I understand if you have to bail. Believe me, I completely understand. I just can't. I can't predict what the system's going to do right now. I just can't. If it continues to go up and down, I'll at least have some good data for tech support when I call them later. If I'm still alive, I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning Central Time. But thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. I mean, your guys being here helps a lot, because it allows me to get an idea what's going on. If you can give me feedback as to if things are cutting in and cutting out, that would help me out quite a bit. But as you guys know, I mean, I'm certainly not the most professional streamer in the world. That's why I only refer to myself as a semi-professional. When you spend more money on your streams than you have coming in, then I think semi-professional is a pretty appropriate term. Not that I mind. I'm not bitching. It's just the way things are. But I at least try to provide a competent product. And today has been a complete disaster. But anyway, so we're waiting for 45 to take the stage at the North Carolina GOP convention. As you can see, the tables are empty at the moment for some reason. I expected him to come on almost 20 minutes ago. That was the time given, but I don't know why there's not even anyone in the room at the moment. That's kind of weird. I just noticed that. Oh, okay. They changed the time. I just looked at the clock. There's a freaking clock on the screen, and I just noticed it says it's an hour and 11 minutes until his speech. No, not time zone. No, I saw specifically something earlier today. In fact, I checked it twice. You guys know how I am about numbers. I checked it twice, and both times I checked it, it said that he was due to start at 5:30 Eastern. And we are past 5:30 Eastern, to be sure. But that's fine. That's fine. Hey, JF. Thanks, JF. I appreciate it. Yeah, it looks really fuzzy on YouTube right now, but it's telling me I have an excellent connection. So I'm not so sure what's going on there. And it's got my subscribe icon in the middle of my face again. It did that last week, if I'm not mistaken. That's a big help. Let me refresh my screen here, see if it's any better. There we go, that's better. Icon's still in the middle of my face, though. Thanks, YouTube. Alright, let's see. Trovo looks good. And, let me refresh DLive here. Oh, I have the wrong, title up for DLive and for Trovo. Hang on a second, let me fix these. Alright. Join us. If I could type, that would be nice. Podcasts, 13 content. All right, good. That's fixed. All right, let's just DLive. This day. I didn't fix any of the categories. I was so busy trying to troubleshoot this stupid internet connection that I completely forgot to set up for the afternoon show. All right. There we go, saved. All right, let's take a look again. Damn it. All right, okay, that's good. That's good. All right. All right. So, hey, Miko, welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, we don't have a choice of ISP around here. All we've got is Spectrum. That's it. And all I can get is the plan that we've been on for like the last 5 years, I think. They've even taken away any plan upgrades. The best you can do now is coax connection, which is it's supposed to be 200 down, 10 up. I get when it's working, I get about 220 down, 12 up when it's working. But as obviously today, it's hardly worked at all. So there's that. But I wanted to upgrade. I looked about 2 months ago, actually. I looked around to see if I could upgrade because I wanted to start streaming to Twitch as well as YouTube and DLive and Trovo. Figured if I could do 4 platforms, that would, you know, I'd get me 25% more exposure and see how much more people I could draw into the different channels. How many more people, I should say. And I looked around, and Spectrum basically said, nope, there's one service and you've got it, so shut up. Sit down and go away. Oh, well, thanks, Spectrum. Thanks so much. Now, I will say, yeah, resetting the modem. That's been my problem for the past week, it seems, Michael. But in fact, I remember I had this problem, I think about 3 months ago or so. Now that I'm trying to remember, you guys know how it is with my mind. But if I remember correctly, Picasso Knows was on the phone with them because I was really sick, and they were saying that I had I think it was like a dump folder on the modem that was there was an overrun, a dump overrun, and it hadn't been cleared out in ages, and they cleared it out. That seemed to have fixed things, but I honestly didn't remember that until just now, so maybe that's a thing again. But we'll see how things run. So far, it's been holding together pretty well. I've only dropped about 2.5% of the frames so far. Of course, we've only been on for a little over 14 minutes, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, it must be nice to have choices, JF. Good for you. Good for you. Hey, Ray. Yeah, hat change. This is my presidential hat. Oh, your phone's hooked to the modem. Interesting. Okay, okay. Now, see what I had going on earlier. Wasn't really a problem, but she was. Oh, here now the room's filling up. But tech support was saying that what I've got here, I've got an UBI modem router, wireless router, and I was using a Netgear 2.4 5G wireless router, and she told me that I needed to get rid of the Netgear because it was interfering with the UBI. So I did so, and then it took me a half hour to get the UBI straightened out because all the Ethernet ports had been disabled. So finally figured that out. That was a real luck, absolute luck that I was able to fix that without having to start shooting both calibers. But so that finally got fixed, and now it's just a matter of praying that this thing holds together. Because earlier when I was testing it, it was giving me really, really crap upload speeds again. But just before I went live this last time, it gave me 2 good speed tests in a row, and Picasso Knows tested hers. She's on the Wi-Fi on her PC. She's not plugged into the cable modem, and she was getting great speeds on that. So I figured I'd give it another try, see what could happen. Yeah, JF, it depends really on how much streaming and how much downloading you do, really. Because I say, for me, the 220 down, that's plenty. That's plenty. I don't do a lot of downloads anymore. And even when I do, I mean, a 200 download will get you a gig file in really just a few minutes, like 5-7 minutes sometimes. So that's pretty good. And then the upload, the 10/12, depending on what kind of day I'm having, that's been good enough for 3 channels forever. You know, DLive, Trovo, and YouTube. It's been good enough for all those. It was only when I tried to add Twitch that I ran into trouble with that 4th stream. So that's when I decided to drop Twitch and go back to the original 3. But and I wasn't getting any traffic on Twitch anyway, so it wasn't like I'm losing out on the deal. But so that's good. I'm getting a bitrate warning from YouTube again. I don't remember changing the bitrate on OBS. Yeah, it's at 2,500. That's where it's supposed to be. Huh. That doesn't make any sense. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Ray mentions in the D-Life chat that 45 may run in 2021 as a Florida congressman and then become Speaker of the House. Yeah, I heard about that 2022 run. Dog mentioned it earlier today. He said H.A. Goodman had put that out there. I don't know if there was another source for that, but hang on a second. What? Thank you. Picasso just yelled at me. It was Bill Crystal who said that. Hey, Animal Mother, what's up with you, good person? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'll warn you right now, we're having a very intermittent stream quality. I've had a problem with Spectrum internet all day today. It seems to be holding together right now, but I've connected and reconnected several times today, and it's been all over the map. So just hang in there. I'm not planning on going anywhere, but you may see the odd disconnection. So far, it's been holding really steady, but I can't guarantee it. Just can't. Anyway, so we're looking at another hour for DJT to step into the room. The people are starting to file in, getting ready for dinner. So he's obviously the keynote speaker, and it's to be a somewhat formal affair. I just saw a woman in an evening gown, looking very sharp. Others seem to be more business casual. There's a suit and tie. Of course, the press pools. You know, if you're on camera, you look good, and if not, you're in a untucked T-shirt and a ball cap. Must be nice. Oh wait, that's what I'm doing right now. It's exactly what I'm doing right now. Oh man, God, I haven't flown IFR. If I had my logbook right now, I could pull it up. I don't think I've flown IFR since. Wow, how far back do I have to go? I started on morphine, and I think it's been maybe 2000, 2001 since my last IFR flight. God, I miss it. I miss it. Probably, out of all the things I've done, other than passing air traffic controller school, I'd say getting my instrument ticket's one of the things I'm most proud of. Because that puts you in the rarefied air of private pilots. I think, what is it, something like 3% of private pilots have their IFR ticket, 5% tops. It's very, 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 very low number. And I will admit that was the best flying I ever did, was when I flew IFR. I wasn't the greatest VFR pilot because I could get distracted and do stupid things. But when I was in the suit, I had it dialed in. It was my favorite type of flying. Even if I couldn't see a thing around me, I was much more comfortable flying IFR than I ever was VFR. And I flew a lot of night IFR too. That was a lot of fun. A lot of night IFR. In fact, I remember one time I was in it doing an ILS approach to a small field in Texas, and can't remember the name of the field. It was just a joyride with a friend of mine, and we're flying back from this trip, and it was about, I think the ceilings were about maybe 800, about 2.5 mile visibility, maybe 1.5 mile visibility, and I shot the ILS, and boom, I just on rails right in. I think it was in a Piper Archer, probably in an Archer. That was what I flew most often. Or no, it was a Bonanza. That's right. Yeah, one of the very early Bonanzas, and high performance, retractable gear, the whole 9 yards. And so I flew her in and landed. And the tower, when I was taxiing over, the tower said, get on the phone and call the tower. Of course, back in those days, there was a pay phone there on the ramp. So I dialed up the tower, and the guy said, "You didn't call the marker inbound." And I'm like, oh, jeez. Oh, such a perfect ILS, and I blew the marker call. It upsets me to this day that it could have been the perfect night ILS, and I screwed that part up. 4 hours into the rating. Oh, yeah. Animal Mother, I'll tell you right now, just fly all the time. Fly all the time. In fact, what did it for me, what really made it special, was I joined an outfit called Angel Flight. Hopefully you have something like that in your area. It's where you fly cancer patients from more rural areas to cancer centers. I did it for the northern Texas area, and I flew people down to MD Anderson in Houston. And when you do that, you don't wake up or look around and go, it's a little something today, I'm not going to go. You have to go. And so unless it's icing or something like that, and you know you can't fly, you'll get in that airplane and you'll go there, you'll pick them up, and you'll go get them to where they need to go. It absolutely is the best way to build instrument time I could have ever hoped for. And it is so rewarding, too. It is so absolutely rewarding. You meet the best people, and people who are, in the middle of a traumatic experience in their life, but they are so appreciative of your taking the time to help them get to their appointment, to get to their treatment, that they're the greatest people in the world. I never had... The only time I ever got anything approaching guff from a patient is when I landed really hot at Houston Hobby. I was coming in smoking because I had a DC-9 on my butt, and I promised the controller I'd keep the speed up, and I didn't pull back soon enough, and I was really flying coming over the threshold, and I planted it, and I was scooting down the runway. I had the nose wheel planted, and I was trying not to ride the brakes so much that they'd overheat, and the markers are just flying by, and we're getting near the end, and I'm just starting to slow down. I barely made the last taxiway, by the way. Just starting to slow down, and he looks over at me and goes, "Are all your landings this impressive?" That was his exact quote. "Are all your landings this impressive?" And I said, "Only for the people I like." And we both cracked up laughing. But I'm lucky I didn't smoke those brakes. I really am. That was not a good landing. But that was VFR. It does keep you grounded, especially when you see the kids. That really takes your breath away. In fact, our group, I don't know if the rest of the Angel Flights group did it. Again, I was Northern Texas, but they have little stuffed animals for the kids that you're supposed to hand out. I had one of them on my dresser for a while. I think I put it away, but their eyes just light up. I don't care how old a kid you are. You get a stuffed toy, your eyes light up. It's always really cool. Excuse me for eating while streaming. Premier Protein Shake. This is the cafe latte with a cup of coffee's worth of caffeine in it. Caffeine doesn't touch me, so it doesn't matter. But I need the protein. So until these implants grow in to the point where I can get my lower plate fixed, really not a lot of chewing I can do. But yeah, it is awesome. It really is awesome. And Land of 420. Hail victory to you, good sir. Hail victory. And thank you for the on fire. That's very generous of you. Thank you. So we're looking at the time right now. I had expected Trump to go on at 5:30 Eastern because that's what I was told by Newsweek.com. And it turns out he's not going to be going on for another 50 minutes, which will be closer to 7 o'clock Eastern. But we are here, and I am keeping up with the chats. Angel Flight with helicopters. I don't know that, Animal Mother. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm betting not, and I'm not saying I know this for sure, but I'm betting not because most of these Angel Flights are pretty long range, and I can't think of a lot of choppers that have the range, say, to get from, like I did, from North Texas to all the way south to Houston in one go. I can't think of a lot of choppers that can do that, and even those that could, they would be so expensive to operate versus a regular single-engine fixed-wing aircraft that I don't see how any throttle jockey could afford it. I don't care how crazy of a rotor head you are. That's a lot of flight time. That's a lot of money. But again, I can't give you a definitive answer. That's just me off the top of my head. But good to go there. Good to go there. So yeah, again, with the in the chat, in the D-Live chat too, and then shoot for being Speaker of the House. Interesting concept. Interesting concept. I could see that working on a few levels, to be honest, but I really don't know if he would do it. I can't guess, really. I can't guess. Trump has a very, very strong tactical mind and strategic mind, for that matter. So it may be an interesting move, but it would certainly take all the attention away from the White House and put it on Congress. That would be an interesting event. But yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. I keep going back and forth on Trump 2024. I know I would vote for him if he became the nominee. I know I would. But I wonder off and on how much better it would be if it was, say, a DeSantis-Pompeo ticket. Because DeSantis is certainly a lot younger. Here's the thing, Trump would be 78 in 2024. Now the one thing he's been very strategic about, though, he's never raised the question of age when it comes to Biden. Whenever someone tries to get Trump to nail Biden for being as old as he is, Trump will always say, I don't think age is a factor. He says, I know 80-year-olds, 82-year-olds who say they're sharper now than they've ever been in their life. He says, but I think if you look at Biden, you can see that he's slowed down. He says, he doesn't have a fastball, and I don't think he ever did have a fastball. So there is that. But also, as Michael North says in the D-Live chat, that he's kind of radioactive, and that's another big point. The thing with Trump running in 2024, he's guaranteed the vast majority of the Republican vote, and I'm sure he'd get a lot of independents. But will the Democrats crawl out of the woodwork like they did in 2020? Say what you will about the election. Obviously, I'm on YouTube, so there are certain things I can't say. But say what you will about the 2020 election. The Democrats did turn out in force. And so Trump has that love-hate dichotomy. Whereas DeSantis, I think, is also hated by the left, but I don't think they could keep up the pressure on him like they could on Trump. So I think tactically, a DeSantis Pompeo ticket might be more advantageous for the Republican Party. I know certainly there would be a huge groundswell of independents that would go for a DeSantis Pompeo ticket. Now, of course, I'm making that up. DeSantis has not said whether or not he'd run for president. Right now, he's just concentrating on being governor, and no one has even begun to talk to Mike Pompeo about any future political plans. But I would be very, very happy with that ticket. I'd also be happy with a DeSantis Nome ticket, to be honest. I think Kristi Noem would be a great addition. I think she's weathered the storm from that debacle with the transgender sports bill pretty well. The heat's off of her from that, and she's doing pretty good. So I think her ticket's coming, her numbers coming back up. And of course, it's only 2021 right now. 3 months is a lifetime politically, much less 3 years. So, I couldn't even begin to guess where we'd be between now and then. That's just my looking at things as they are right now. Michael North says in the DLF chat, age does not concern me if honesty is ensured. Honk, he says. Oh, sure. Okay, Animal Mother. Yeah, DLF. Cool. Good for you. Good for you. But yeah, is that fight best for the team? Says Michael North. Exactly. Is that fight best for the team? That's what I keep going back and forth on. Is it best for the team? And I really just can't. I can't make a guess on that. I personally think it would be better if you put a gun to my head right now. I personally think it would be better if we went with a younger ticket and put Trump in the role of kingmaker. I think he would be much more effective as the cheerleader for the 2024 ticket, which he certainly is going to be for the 2022 tickets. Obviously, he's going to be right out in front for all that. But I think for 2024, it would be stronger strategically if he was the kingmaker and rallying the Republican Party and behind that ticket as opposed to running himself. There's just too much flack. He's going to have to fight with social media all over again. There would, of course, be the Democrats making it all about January 6th, which is a huge thing. That would suck all the air out of the room whenever Trump would be anywhere, because the only questions he'd ever get would be about January 6th. So that would be he'd never be able to get any policies forward through the media because of that. And again, with social media being the way they are towards him, he probably wouldn't have that at his disposal either. So with a different ticket, that would take January 6th off the table immediately, especially if it was something like a DeSantis Nome ticket. Mike Pompeo was, of course, promoting the Trump win. So he may have some of that shadow on him. I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing. But it is a thing. It is definitely a thing. You're right. I'm glad you're talking about that. Those are excellent points. But anyway, so the internet connection seems to be holding up pretty well so far. I've only dropped a little over 2.5% of the frames. YouTube is swirling, however. I don't know what's going on there. There it is. Okay. That was weird. But so anyway, so I'm trying to monitor all the streams. All right, all good, all good. Let me make a quick super chat to RSBN. I have to turn off the screen for a second so I don't dox myself, because my PayPal account has my real name on it. Give me just a second. I'm going to super chat RSBN like I always do, and I'll be right back. All right. God bless RSBN, and God bless America. Let's see. There we go. All right, let's watch it come through here. There it is. Let's see here. All right, good, good. All taken care of. All right, good. Oh, high T pushover. I like that. That's you, Animal Mother, right? Yeah. I was a private pilot, single engine land, complex tail dragger, um, and flew a few warbirds. Not solo, but I could fly the T6 decently and a Stearman pretty well. Although I have a little bit of stick time in a PT-19 Cadet. I believe that they were called the Cadet, but very little, very little. More so. Most of my tail dragger time comes in J3s, Cessna 120s, and Cessna 140s. That's where the majority of my tail dragger time was in. But as far as air traffic control goes, I passed ATC school, and I was a tower candidate, but I quit right at the end of my OJT hours, my on-the-job training hours, because I just couldn't handle it. It was not the job for me. The stress was incredible. I couldn't manage it. I started drinking. I'd never bought a case of beer before in my life, but I bought a case of Keystone, not Keystone Light. That's before Keystone Light came out. I bought a case of Keystone, and I was pounding away at it. And about 2 weeks later, I realized that this was not going to be good for my health, and had a really bad day in the tower, really bad day. And I decided enough was enough, so I went downstairs to my manager, and we signed the papers, and I mustered out about a month later. Took a while for the paperwork to clear, so I wound up moving back home. But I just gotten married. But if I hadn't taken that job, I never would have met my wife. So it was the perfect storm. Terrible ending to my career, but a great beginning to my life. So I can't, even though I have bittersweet memories of the tower, I have nothing but fond memories we've been married over 31 years now. We just had our anniversary recently. So life's been good. She saved my life several times, literally saved my life, at least twice. I'd probably be dead in a ditch somewhere if it wasn't for her. But yeah, I was in paramedic school at one of the top paramedic classes in Chicago, and I suddenly had a chance to sign up with the FAA because I wanted to do weather. I wanted to do a weather work out of FSDO, but they were turning all the weather offices into automated offices, and so by the time I finished school, they had closed most of the weather offices, so there was nowhere for me to go. I almost wound up at a weather office in New Hampshire, had everything lined up, and at the very last minute they canceled the move because the FAA put in a new rule that you couldn't take a job over someone else just because you could afford the move and they couldn't. They saw that as having an advantage, and they wouldn't allow it. So right before I made the move, they had to cancel the offer, and that was it for me and ATC. So I wound up doing other things, a lot of other things. But that was interesting. But yeah. Well, see, I'm on massive painkillers. I have a very, very severely pinched nerve in my neck, and it blew up while I was building a Europa. Beautiful fiberglass airplane. And I was working on it, and one day I couldn't move my right arm anymore, and I'd injured my neck previously back in the 80s. This was back in like 2000, and it flared up big time, and that's when I had to quit flying because I wound up being on opioids for pain, and you obviously can't fly and be on opioids at the same time. So my medical lapsed, but because of the heavy painkillers, there were a couple times where the dosages were wrong, and I was passed out from an overdose, and my wife found me both times and got me to the hospital, so I was able to detox from the overdose, and then they dialed in the medication better. I'm since on a much smoother medication for the pain. It's very safe, very effective, but it's also an opiate, so it's basically synthetic morphine. So I can't fly, anymore. And last year I suffered brain damage after oxygen deprivation over a long period of time due to a lung problem that no one knew was there, and so I lost a lot of brain function. So my cognitive skills are basically shot. My memory is gone, absolutely gone. I can't remember one thing 5 seconds to the next. So there'd be no way I could even function in a cockpit again. Absolutely no way. But I miss that. I used to do a little scuba diving too, and I had to give that up. Because now with my lungs as bad as they are, there's no way I could dive. I'd never be able to manage. If my air quit, I'd never make it to the surface in time. But I stream. I game in the mornings and stream in the afternoons during the week. Got the news rodeo, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Gliders. Oh, good for you, man. I never flew gliders. Michael North, that's right. You and I talked about that before. I never flew gliders. That's a big failing in my life. I never had the opportunity, to be honest. By the time I started getting around to flight school, it was all powered flight for me, and I never really even had a chance to do gliders. I was always in something with a motor in it every time I went up. Sorry, engine. Sorry. Don't call the FAA and say I used the word motor instead of engine. Don't get me in trouble. It's like the NRA. If you say weapon instead of firearm, they jump down your throat. They don't like that. They want you to make the distinction, which was difficult too, because all the firearms training I have was almost exclusively from either ex-law enforcement, current law enforcement, or military, also former or current, and they all use the word weapon. That is common parlance. But when I started teaching pistols in the NRA, I had to flip that switch and only say the word firearm. They were very, very strict about you not using the word weapon when you were discussing firearms in the NRA. Very big about that. Call Fizdo on me, Hightower. Yep, call Fizdo on me. Absolutely. Yep. Now, my dad built a Sparrowhawk gyrocopter. Flew it. He wasn't able to solo in it, though. He was in his early 70s, and he couldn't quite get all of the balls in the air at the same time when it came to landing. He would usually freeze on the flare and would plant it, and so he wasn't able to solo, so he decided to put it away. But I was the only other person to fly it except for him and his instructor. And it was a sweet flying aircraft. It really was. Gyrocopters are a lot of fun. You can't stall them in a turn. You can't. You put that sucker in a 45-degree bank and haul back on the stick, and it'll just sit there and do 2G turns all day long without missing a beat. Because that loads the rotor perfectly. You can't unload it. It's the funnest thing. But I did discover he had a problem with his control system, though. We were able to fix it. The flight that I took, I was able to suss that out. He hadn't noticed. It was one of those things where it was failing over time, and they were compensating for it. But when I went up in it, I'm like, whoa, you got a problem with your control system here. This is wrong. And we dove into it, and like, oh, this bushing failed. Oh, okay, cool. So we put in a better bearing system, and it was perfect after that. But it's sitting there gathering dust right now. He keeps threatening to. I haven't talked to him in coming up on. It's been over 2 years now. But he kept threatening to either donate it to his gyro club or sell it. But it's just sitting there gathering dust, unfortunately. So now it's basically worthless, I'm sure, because I don't believe he ever pickled the engine. Rotax 9. No, the Subaru. That's it. Yeah, the Subaru Boxer engine. It had the Subaru conversion, so that's what he used. Pretty good. In fact, I remember they wanted to get the updated manifold for that engine, but it was OEM, and they couldn't order it without an engine serial number. Well, I just so happened to be driving an Outback at the time, and so I loaned them my engine's VIN number, um, and they ordered the part using that, and they got it, and it worked perfectly. Ah, knocking. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I had my Outback had 120,000 on it when I sold it. It was in perfect shape, absolutely perfect shape. Wasn't a thing wrong with it. But I had to quit driving because of my brain. I just couldn't manage anymore. So we're down to one car, and saving a lot of money. Saving a lot of money. It was oh gosh, NA, yeah, naturally aspirated, yeah, yeah. With the gear kit to drive it down for the propeller. Had a pretty easy time tuning the propeller, believe it or not. Normally that's a big bugaboo for home builders, but we were actually able to knock that out within a couple hours, if I'm not mistaken, without having to go too far with it. And and it's a matter of starting the engine, measuring the RPMs, stopping the engine, and taking a wooden paddle with a cutout in the middle of it, and loosening the bolts on the blade, and it's just pulling the blade a little bit one way or the other, and torquing the bolts back down, spinning it up, and measuring the RPMs, and going back and forth with all three blades, and got it figured out pretty quickly. Oh yeah, the vibe. I have this thing about vibes. I know they're decent cars. Don't get me wrong, Michael. I know they're decent cars. But for some reason, when I started seeing them all over Kenosha, I got offended. Don't ask me why, but I got offended. And every time I'd see one, I would say effing, saying the whole word, effing vibe. Now I wouldn't say that for a Matrix. I wouldn't say that for a Matrix. But for the vibes, I always say that. And they're cool looking cars. They've updated them nicely. I don't have a problem with them as far as mechanics go. But there's just something about the car itself that rubbed me the wrong way. And maybe it's just because I'm a jerk. I don't know. Picasso knows agrees with me that I'm a jerk.
No, you've been saying that since Texas.
Oh, Picasso says I've been saying it since Texas, actually. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Internet seems to be holding together. No, the Vibe is a hatchback. I guess you'd call that just a sedan. Yeah, Scions aren't bad. Yeah, I had a buddy who drove a Scion van. He loved it, but it started getting long in the tooth, and the maintenance got to be expensive, which I found surprising. But there were certain parts that were a bit more than he could afford. So I think he wound up riding his bike for a while. He needed a brake job and I think a suspension alignment on it, and he just didn't have the money for it. Of course, he was always broke anyway, so I guess maybe I'm not doing it justice as far as actual cost goes. Cosmo Amsko, Amsock, I get it. That palindrome, I got it. Telephone call for Donald. It's SDNY. Yes, they are doing the investigation. As far as I'm concerned, it's a complete political hit job. Letitia James ran for New York AG, saying specifically that she would put Trump in jail, even though she had no evidence of any crimes. And she has been using the power of her office to look for crimes. The SDNY has had it in for Trump from the word go. It's costing them tens of millions of dollars in legal fees, and I think Letitia James and the SDNY are more than happy to do that. I don't expect these to go anywhere. At worst, I expect there to be some fines, but they have yet to come up with anything concrete that Trump or the Trump organization has done that would even begin to signify any kind of jail time. The most that they're alleging right now is over and under reporting of real estate assets, which every real estate holder does. I'm not saying it's legal at all. I'm just saying every real estate holder does that. You inflate your holdings when it comes time to get financing, and you deflate your holdings when it comes time to pay taxes. That's the nature of the beast. That's what accountants are for. And they're saying that the Trump organization did that, and they want to put him in jail for it. And that's the only thing they've come up with that they could even hang their hat on being against the law right now. That if it does come down to that, and it's anything more than fines, then it'll be a malicious prosecution, and it'll go all the way to the Supreme Court, the way I see it. Yes. Yes, good sound systems. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, my first car out of college was a Ford Escort Pony. There goes my internet connection. There goes the connection. It's starting to die. Hang in there, folks. But yeah, Ford Escort Pony. It had no sound system, no air conditioning, but it had all the plumbing for air conditioning. And they told me when I bought it that if you ever moved up, I was in northern Illinois at the time, so you really don't need air conditioning that often. But I was told that I could get air conditioning installed someday if I wanted to. So we wound up moving to Dallas, took the car with us, and I went, obviously, we'd been there a month. We moved there in mid-April in the 90s, and I was there a month, and I had about a 35-minute drive to work, and I would be sweating through my suit by the time I got to work, so I had to keep bringing changes of shirts. And finally we said, it's time to get the air conditioning. So I went to several Ford dealerships, and they all laughed at me and said, yeah, they told you that, but it's impossible. There's no way we could put an air conditioner in this thing. It absolutely is impossible. And I even went to a few private shops, and they all told me the same thing. So I had to buy a new car. And I bought, I did wind up putting a sound system in that Pony, by the way, though. I installed one myself. Nice cassette deck and JBL speakers. It sounded really good. But wound up going with another Escort, and I had that car for ages, absolutely ages. I think I had it for a good 13, 14 years. Yeah, in and out, says Michael. Yep. Yeah, it's starting to die. Let me do a speed test here. Let's see what Ookla says. And good afternoon, or good evening, or good night to you, Galt, in the Trovo channel. Nice to see you. I am apologizing ahead of time. My internet connection has been crap all day, and it is starting to die again. I'm trying to stream as best I can. I game stream in the mornings. I'm playing The Witcher 3 right now. On the weekends, I start at 9 a.m. Eastern, and during the week, I start at 8 a.m. Eastern. But my connections have been crap for the past few days, and it's starting to die again. So if this crashes, you'll know why. But I'm going to try and stay here as long as possible. But it is starting to die again. In fact, Michael, concerning the pony, for a while in Texas, I wanted to get a Vandy plate that said "My Little," because My Little Pony was a big craze back then. But I figured two reasons to not do that. One, probably no one would get it, and those that didn't get it would think I was referring to something else other than the car. So I decided it would be better to not put "My Little" on my car, and I think I made the right choice there.
And I am not Chairman Michael Watley, but I am grateful for his invitation to come and pray an invocation over this great gathering. Reminds me of another supper. Let me read you this. I know it scares people when preachers pull out a Bible and then they go, no, we're going to be here all night. No, you're not. One moment. It is written here in John chapter 12. Then Jesus, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper. And Martha served, but Lazarus was as one of them that sat at the table with him. And then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? John, the apostle, writes by the Holy Spirit, this he said not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief, and he had the bag and bare what was put therein. Ladies and gentlemen, Judas was a Democrat. Pretending to be motivated by love, pretending to care. He saw what was someone else's property and had a better plan for it than them. At least he thought. God have mercy. Judas has many disciples at work in our nation right now. Let us pray together. Father in heaven, thank you for providing again another meal, another occasion. We are grateful people, grateful for the freedom that you have granted us, and I pray that you'd help us to be faithful stewards of that freedom. Great Father, your blessing upon this gathering, and I ask that you'd help us to stand for the truth. Help us to stand for what is right. Help us to be compelled by love for God. You summarize the entire law with two commands: that we would love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and that we would love our neighbor as ourselves. I pray, Lord, help us be true to those motivations. Bless every conversation and all that is spoken here tonight in the holy name of the Son of God, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Please welcome to the stage the Vice Chairman of the Forsyth County GOP, Harold Eustich, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody stand. What a great honor to lead our pledge. We want everybody to know that the North Carolina GOP, we stand up for our flag and our country, and we don't compromise on that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, hi T.
Please welcome to the stage Ms. Alina Charkasova to sing the national anthem.
We're on Skellige now for the last push, fighting the wild hunt. I just got Philippa off the Emir's yacht or boat.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your meal. We will continue the program shortly.
Thank you for tuning in to Right Side Broadcasting Network. We had the opening Pledge of Allegiance and National Anthem, and we want to thank you guys for officially hitting 100,000 followers on Instagram. So we're working on a post for you guys right now. Again, we just hit 100,000. So up next, we're going to...
All right. Sorry for that interlude. I had to take my meds. I forgot to pull them earlier, so I was sitting here. Just went in to talk to Picasso's for a second, have her test her internet stream, which, by the way, is also dying. So it's across the whole house. It's not just my PC. But anyway, so I had to did that. Came in here, sat down, and about 30 seconds after I sat down, my alarm went off for my evening meds. So I had to run and take those. And while I was doing that, the Star Spangled Banner quit. So I was a little late getting to the mute button. My apologies. But yeah, hi T. It's a game I came to very late. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I've been playing the Fallout series since it first came out, all the way back with the original. And I've played every Fallout except for Fallout Tactics and the board game. I never played the board game. Everything else I've played, and I have almost all of them in my library. I've got the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 3. In fact, I own 2 copies of it. And Fallout 4. I got the collector's edition of Fallout 4. But I was taking a break from Fallout, and I thought, well, what else can I do? Because I just built a monster gaming rig, and I wanted to throw something really cool at it. But the last new video game that I had played was the latest Doom, and there's all this damn platforming in it. And I'm on a keyboard and a mouse, and I can't platform on a keyboard and a mouse. So I had to throw it away. Lost a lot of money on that. And started looking around. And I did an internet search for best PC games. And I found a top 10 list, and number 1 was Witcher 3. Number 1. So I thought, okay. So I got it on Steam for a song. It was on deep, deep, deep sale. I think I got it for like $8. And all the DLCs, the whole bit. Downloaded it and played it all the way through and fell in love. So then I started a new